Okay, so Wes, with you being, I think, like the most well-traveled person on this podcast, I have to ask you a very serious question. Um, True or false, if you're eating at a hole-in-the-wall restaurant that's kind of dirty, you're always going to have amazing food?
Mm, why do I feel like that's true, but also there's like a 50-50 chance of food poisoning?
Well, have you ever gotten food poisoning from a restaurant described as I just did?
It's hard to tell. I've only had food poisoning a few times in my life, and it's the thing that caused it has always been blurred by the actual food poisoning itself. Like, food poisoning sucks. But yeah,
Fair,
no,
that's fair.
I think you're onto something. Like,
Because
geniuses don't have time to care about like cleanliness. They're just doing their art.
yeah, I mean, the FDA be damned, right? Because the other day I went into this pho restaurant um, in like a really sketchy neighborhood that I was working at, and I walked in. It was cash only, so it's like they're probably like committing tax fraud. Um, and had just some generalized Korean pho name, right? Because I don't know how like familiar you are with it, but like out here in the Seattle area, most pho restaurants have like a play on the name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like like you'll see like this is pho you all over the place or something similar.
Or what about the fucking? Do they have faux kings out there?
I have not seen pho king anywhere. um,
So hold on. I have a question. You said
yeah,
Korean. Are the signs like in Korean language? Because I'm pretty sure pho is Vietnamese.
I thought it was Korean because like anywhere that you go for like Korean food, like they always have pho. Let me actually, you know what? Before I make myself sound even more dumb, let me do some Googleizing real quick. What is pho? Nope. Yeah, it is Vietnamese. Okay, never mind. So I lied. Anyways, that doesn't like negate what I just said. It just I have to recontextualize it as Vietnamese instead of Korean. But um, so yeah, this one was just like pho, like and then like a Vietnamese word. Um, and I walked in, said cash only on the front door, and they're just like sit down wherever in their Vietnamese accent, which I'm not going to attempt to replicate on this podcast.
Oh no, go on, go on. I'm
Nope.
interested.
Nope. You're not gonna get me with that. And so the waiter comes over, he's like, you know what you want? I was like, I don't even have a menu. There's not even a menu at the table. Like I had literally sat down and like not even 5 seconds later he shows up. He's like, you know what you want? Like, you have a menu? He's like, oh, he just took it from this other person that was literally like reading the menu and gave it to me. And I was like, okay, regular number one. Okay. And goes off. And it was the quickest I'd ever gotten pho. It took like about 5 minutes. Usually, like anywhere else I've gone, you're just like sitting waiting for like 10 to 15. But like, it was like this dude and like, I assume probably like his mom, his grandma, and like a couple aunts in the kitchen. And they got it out super fucking quick. There was the grody bottle of rooster sauce, just open, maybe has a little bit of mold on it, and but I tell you, it was so goddamn good
Mm.
and filling, and just it was exactly what I needed. And I feel like those are like always the best restaurants. Have you had like the same experience like in Thailand, or like will Yui not let you go into sketchy places like that?
So Thailand doesn't really have sketchy places as far as like where the general public goes. Like there's places you can really get into some trouble, but like I've never experienced them and I don't think she would even take me to a place that like that's a possibility, but like they don't have ghettos per se. Maybe just like street blocks where it's like a certain family owns this area.
Okay.
Not nothing I know of locally, but like I've seen documentaries on like the southern islands of Thailand with like mafia connections and whatnot, and so it exists. But like, there's not per se like an American style ghetto in
Okay.
Thailand. Like they have slums, but like the crime's like minuscule. Like you just have like standard crime everywhere. But so a lot of the restaurants around here are like semi-hybrid, like where it'll be like an outside dining establishment and it will kind of be like grimy or whatever, but like it's hard to keep a place super clean when it's outside anyways.
Okay.
And even when I was in Japan, which is a very clean country, a lot of the eating establishments were like kind of grubby. And I was genuinely afraid of getting food poisoning a lot, but the food was just so fucking good. Um, so in the US, I would say the rule is really dirty place, probably some really slamming ethnic food. But here it's just like it's hard to tell because like each place is like clean in their own regard and then like filthy in other regards, but the food's all slamming. Like I don't go to places that don't have slamming food around here. Um, but in Japan for sure, like the more I was worried about getting food poisoning, the more delicious the place was.
Yeah, I feel the same way about like taco trucks too. And
Oh,
because
definitely.
I love like a good taco truck. Like there's a couple in downtown Seattle that like I if I'm in the area, it doesn't matter what else is around, that's where I'm going. And it's a real shame because Brittany will not eat food out of a taco truck. My favorite one, in fact, it doesn't exist anymore. I think like I don't know what happened to it. Probably something to do with like the law, because I'm like 99% sure that most of the people that worked in this food truck were not here legally. But it was actually like an old school bus that they had converted into like a half sit down place. So like at the very back of the bus is like where they had their kitchen, and like the front of the bus they had like little bar stools with like a tiny little uh not like a table, but like almost like a shelf basically that like you could sit at and like eat your food. And God, it was so damn good. I miss it so much. But yeah, Brittany will not eat street food or like taco truck food or just food trucks in general if it doesn't look very clean.
Mm.
It's really sad actually.
They have like markets here in Thailand, like pretty common. And there's just like outside food everywhere. And like it'll be like this little dirty stand where like they're selling like fish soup or something. And it just looks super sketch, but then like you eat it and it's just incredible.
That's seafood specifically is like one thing that like I'm personally sketched out about because I did get food poisoning one time from fish. So like if it's not fish that like I've caught, uh prepared and like cooked myself, I won't fucking touch it. Aside from like fish sticks, but that's like a whole different like food as far as I'm concerned. It's not like truly seafood at that point anymore. Um
Mm.
but like yeah, as far as like a fillet goes, I can't do it.
So they have these like meatball esque things, meatball adjacent things here called lukshin, which just means like little ball, I think. And they have like lukshin blah, which is fish, or lukshin mu, which is pork, lukshin gu, which is cow or beef, and like so the soup is like this really nice hot, not in a spicy way, but like in a refreshing like piping hot clear soup with like have you seen like I guess it's an Asian type of soup where it's clear but it has like oil at the top and like different herbs and stuff just floating around in it?
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, it sounds like similar to pho
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, somewhat like that. But like this has it's like less deep and more refreshing. Like it's almost like a drink soup.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
it has less of a stock to it.
Yeah, and they'll just put like these fish lukshin in them, or like these little fish balls, and it's like somewhat mixed with like a soy paste. So it's like soy paste meets like processed fish, or maybe it's real fish that they just mash up in it.
Hmm.
But either way, like at first I was super sketch of them, but now like it's just so damn good. And like I try not to judge on the street anymore, like I did when I first got here, because the irony of it is, I got food poisoning most recently from a Michelin star restaurant inside a very clean looking mall. Um, so I've never been sick eating street food, and I have been sick at a highly renowned restaurant inside a shopping center. So there's that.
All right. Well, before we continue this on anymore and just get lost in the sauce, we should really do an introduction, I think. So, this is the Life Midwest podcast. I'm your host, Army former person, whatever the hell Kevin says, Lenny Wells. We have our Thai correspondent, Wes Shirley. And Kevin's off tonight because he got laughed out of the cereal draft. Wes, I don't know if you saw, but I put up a poll up on Twitter, and there's only 2 people that voted, and he didn't get a vote. So I think he was just so embarrassed, and that's why he's not here tonight.
The real joke is we only got 2 votes, but since we're just brushing that off our shoulders, suck it, Kevin.
Yeah, I was really trying to breeze past that, but you really focused in.
Hey, man, we have 3 listeners. I'm upset that one person didn't vote.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was one of the people that voted, and I think Kevin was one of the people that voted. He didn't vote for himself because I voted for myself. He voted for you.
If you voted in the cereal draft, let us know. I'm interested in seeing if it was Kevin. I wonder if, I mean, he's going to review this. I wonder if he would admit to voting for mine. I'm pretty sure he likes his better, right? Like his nostalgic grandparent cereal.
Yeah, his grandpa cereal. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Well, so I kind of fucked up, though. It was my fault because I didn't set the terms of the poll correctly. I set it for 24 hours and I intended to set it for like a couple days so I could like continually reshare it and like try and get engagement. But I'm just bad at my social media manager job. So I guess that's what I get. But I'll take a tie. And sorry, Kevin, I'm sorry you're so embarrassed you couldn't make it. So.
Hold on. Let me channel my inner Kevin.
Ooh, this will be good.
You know, I think oven roasted chicken is actually pretty amazing.
You just need a little bit of lemon on it, and it's perfect.
Hey, lemon chicken. I mean, ideally there's some pepper there, but like lemon chicken's not terrible.
Okay, so I probably shouldn't say this, and I guess when Brittany does listen to this in the future, she might like scold me for this, but my mother-in-law, so Brittany's mom, her like go-to like chicken recipe is like just plain chicken breast with some lemon juice and I think maybe a bit of vinegar or something. And I I love her. I love the woman to death, and I'm always thankful when she gets up the gumption to cook. But every time it's that, I just die a little bit inside because it's so like the epitome of white people food. And what's like really a shame about it is that she's like a really good cook otherwise. She does a lot of like Italian style dishes because she grew up, the I think she's like a 2nd generation Italian or maybe 3rd generation Italian. I think maybe it was her grandparents that emigrated. So she has the potential in her. Like her homemade spaghetti sauce is just fantastically amazing. But then she just cooks this white people chicken, and it's so painful.
All right, the Life Midwest presents our new chicken recipe. Let me hit you with this most simple chicken, and it's going to taste so goddamn good. So you take however many chicken breasts you need for a family. Let's say 4 large size chicken breasts. You thaw them out like you would because you're not just going to fucking put frozen chicken in the oven.
Sure.
And this sounds disgusting, but stay with me. You rub a heavy, thick layer of butter over the top of each of them. Ideally, the butter's thawed out a little bit too, so you're not like just taking a cold stick of butter and like mashing it into the chicken. And then you just sprinkle a liberal, fucking generous amount of paprika on top. Set the oven to broil, basically 450, 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Put it on the top rack for 20 minutes maximum, and you have the most juicy, delicious, easy, didn't waste any time, didn't sweat chicken ever. The Life Midwest official certified chicken recipe.
Okay. I mean, I'll have to give it a run. Typically, like chicken is like not my first pick of meat. It's actually like number three. So I'll have to give that a suggestion next time that we're doing this. Wes, let me ask you a question. What Give me your rundown for steak.
Okay. So steak's really simple. Same with chicken. Usually like the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. You sometimes get like the best stuff. So steak already tastes good. Like you could throw steak on a grill with no seasoning, and as long as you don't overcook it, you could probably eat that and like be satisfied, or I could at least. But for steak, there's three ways that I cook steak. The first one's in a cast iron pan, generous butter again, salt, pepper, onions and garlic and other aromatics and like some garnishment of whatever. It doesn't matter. It could be parsley just so it looks pretty. But like generally with the onions, I'll also throw in broccoli and all the butter. That way I have buttery broccoli to eat with it. That's like my favorite because you get just the juiciest, fattest, unhealthiest steak ever. But then you eat your vegetables on the side and feel somewhat healthy or good about yourself as the butter squirts out of the fucking broccoli. Like, this is so healthy. The next way is just on a grill with salt and pepper, nothing else, and then cook it to medium well. I I can't do medium rare because like while it's good, sometimes I get blue rare, which like I'm just not good at getting the rareness right. So I always just cook it a little more. That way I'm not eating a fucking mooing cow. But if someone can cook it for me at medium rare, I'm all about it. But yeah, just a simple grilled steak. And then the third way is to bake it in the oven. This time with like
Do you bake it on the cast iron?
so I haven't done that. I know I've seen videos where they do that, especially on TikTok.
Okay.
Um, but just on like a baking pan, and I
Mhm.
use olive oil and like I'm talking a lot of minced garlic,
Okay.
and that's it. And it turns out to be some of the softest and juiciest, delicious steak.
Okay.
So those are my three go-to steak methods.
I have one tried and true method. And Wes, when everybody's in town for Kevin's wedding, if we have time, I'll cook you a steak because I don't know how I do this, but the only way I can cook it is medium rare. So I'll link you up on this. But check this out. So this is what I do. I for first I get sea salt, right? Like the big chunky boys,
Mm,
and I'll take a liberal helping of rosemary, put that in a mortar, put the fucking sea salt in there, grind that up together, get rosemary salt. Do that next time you're making a steak, and trust me, it's so good. It's like it's a perfect aromatic. So once that's mixed up, get both sides of the steak with that, grind up some pepper on it, some black pepper, and I only do it. We have a gas grill, so that's how I cook my steak is on the gas grill. And what I'll do, I fucking crank that bitch as high as it'll go, and I let it sit and get hot for about 10 minutes. Slap the first side. Basically what I do is because like if typically I'm making about four steaks at a time for like the family. So by the time I get the fourth one on the grill, the sear is done for the first one. So I flip it and then go down the line, flipping the rest of them, right? And then once
mm,
I get the fourth steak on its second side, I turn it all the way down. So like the flame's barely on. And I do one more flip, put a tablespoon of butter on each one, and shut it for about 5-ish minutes. And I don't like strictly time it, it's just by feel. And usually I'm just waiting for like the butter to like completely melt and like coat the steak.
mm.
So what I do then is I take thyme and I open it back up, sprinkle the thyme on with the butter, let it sit for just a quick minute so that way it won't just immediately fall off when I flip it, tablespoon of butter, thyme, close it for about another 5 minutes. I'll do one more flip and then another like spat of butter on each side for each flip. And that's it. Take it off, let it rest for about 5 minutes, cover the plate in foil, and then it's ready to serve. And they're so tender, they're so juicy, and they have a really nice, because I don't use salted butter. Um, so it's all unsalted butter. Um, but it's just the rosemary and the thyme on them are perfect. I think, in my opinion, that's like my perfect steak.
I've made an awful and terrible mistake of not eating before this podcast, and my stomach is just fucking wrenching. It's like, oh god, everything sounds so good.
Well, I did eat dinner before this podcast, so I'm feeling great.
Proceeds to describe more delicious food in excruciating detail. Like,
dude, for real, like, and what's like fucked up about it is like the steak is so damn good. And like I can't, like I said, I cannot cook it under. It's always medium rare, and Brittany likes her steak well done, like a fucking savage. And like we went to a hibachi restaurant like 2 weekends ago, just like a little date night. And so she got steak and chicken. And so when the chef's going around asking everybody, you know, how they want their steak cooked, she goes, well, and he goes, you want to come back tomorrow and try again? So like she, I don't understand. Like, I think it's like for her, I think it's like a food poisoning thing too. Like she just can't get over like the pinkness of it. But like everybody always like gives her like, shit for it. And I try so hard to get it to like cook at like the doneness that she wants it, and I just can't do it. So I know she's always like settling for what isn't her preferred choice of meat whenever I cook steaks, and I feel bad for it, but I also like don't, because it's so good every time.
have you ever encountered people who are the exact opposite when it comes to like just precaution? Like, all right, I'm gonna get a well done steak. I can't stomach a rare one. I associate it with illness because like foods like chicken or pork you can't really eat undone. But then there's the people like the opposite, or who like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they order like a chicken medium rare, and you're just like, the fuck.
I've never seen that.
So I've worked in a few different restaurants throughout like my young career, and there's inevitably one or two people a month. Yeah, I would like the chicken medium rare or rare, and everyone's just like, you're doing that to seem cool. You don't know what you're talking about. And like the servers will come back like, we got another one. Make sure that bitch is raw.
You actually send it out like that?
No, of course not. But we would, anywhere I worked would have gotten shut down if you send out raw chicken. Like that's such a health violation.
Okay, that's what
entirely
I was
fucked up.
so concerned. I was like, no way. There's no way.
You send out a chicken at 165 minimum and make sure that it's white.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's been it's kind of like unrelated, but there's been a rash on. So spoiler alert for anybody that doesn't know, one of the subreddits I subscribe to is r/army, and it's basically just like a bunch of like current and former army dudes like jerking each other off or like calling each other stupid. But it's pretty entertaining. But there's been a rash of cafeterias on military bases serving up just the rawest chicken you've ever seen, and which is even more fucked up when you consider that there's jobs specifically in the military, not like across all branches, that's just cook. It's all you have to do is just, that's your job every day. Cook breakfast, cook lunch, cook dinner, and then like clean the kitchen, obviously, right? So I don't know how you get that wrong.
If you're cooking chicken, you carry a food thermometer with you. That's you're trying to kill your comrades.
Yeah. I don't think they'd call it comrades. It's a little red for the U.S. military's taste. Your buddy, your battle
Brothers,
buddy.
kill your brothers.
Yeah, your brother. What's another food hot take that you've got? I feel like the next time you're in the U.S. for an extended period of time, you're just going to be really sad. Like, at least when it
Mm,
comes to like food.
no, because I've learned how to cook a lot of it, and Yui's actually a extraordinary cook, chef, whatever. She's not like an official chef, but she
Sure.
she does that like Thai family cooking. Like if you go in, like you went into that Vietnamese restaurant and it was family ran, like that's just kind of like a Southeast Asia thing.
Okay.
Um,
So
like
so you're cooking dinner for us one night. So I'll do steak one night. You can do Thai food the next night.
sure,
All right.
I can make all types of cool stuff. I'm interested to try Ashley's cooking. I've only had it like once or twice, and she's gotten a lot more experience since then.
Well, I'll tell you what. I haven't even met the woman like in person. So you've got a leg up on me, but I wouldn't expect Ashley to be like cooking food, at that time with everything that's going to be going on.
Oh,
So,
right, yeah, like
like, stop your wedding prep, come over here, cook dinner as a woman should. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
that's damn right.
Yeah. I mean, she's doing a lot. She's not like the head person at the zoo now, but she's in their culinary department. So I keep forgetting to tell Kevin this story. So I'll do it now. He can listen to it in post. But so Wes, I don't know if you're aware, but my stepfather works at the zoo. He works in the maintenance department. And according to him, I was talking to him about it. I was like, oh yeah, Kevin's fiance works at the zoo. And he's like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. And he's like, yeah, the guys have been talking about some new little blonde chick that's been working over there. So that's probably who they're talking about. They're always going over there and trying to, do little jobs for them. So I was like, yeah, they're not going to get anywhere at all. So
Hey man, maybe it's for the food. You don't gotta jump to wild conclusions.
it's definitely not for the food because as I understand it, and this is probably not like a hard and fast rule, but typically if the catering department's working on something, they're not usually, giving out whatever it is they're working on. It's typically for, like parties or whatever. Um it's only afterwards that whatever's left over basically gets handed out. So during the day, probably not so much. Just a fun little story. I think, anyways. I thought it was very funny when he was telling me about that. So, and I have no doubt that like Ashley makes food worthwhile. So he's probably eating better than anyone else around, especially between the three of us. He probably eats better than we do, like all the time. Fucking bastard.
I don't know. I've met some chefs who are just excellent at their job, but then go home and like eat burnt toast with peanut butter on it because they're just so dead from their day at work. I'm
Okay.
not saying that Kevin eats burnt toast with peanut butter on it, but like maybe it's a rare occasion. I don't know. Let us know, Kevin. Go to the comments on Twitter since you're now the audience or whatever it is you do these days.
I would not be surprised if like just to spite us, he like cuts in like a little recording at the end of this, and he's like, "Actually, you idiots, this is how good it is," or whatever. But anyways, but we're coming up on some time here, so we'll cut it loose this week. We'll let Kevin chop this up as he sees fit. Wes, you have any shout outs this week?
Yeah, shout out to Kevin and Ashley, since we've been using you guys as conversation pieces on and off for the last half hour. Shout out to my wife Yui for giving me a reason to come to Thailand and eat incredibly spicy, delicious food. Shout out to you for hosting this week since Kevin's not here. I like being a side host, so this works out perfectly. Thank you.
and like I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm not saying I'm a hero, but maybe other people should say that. I'm gonna shout out Brittany. She's in the bath. She's having a bath right now, relaxing after the kids drove her crazy. She deserves it. Shout out, I get you, like just like you did, Kevin and Ashley. We've been taking the piss at their expense, and but all in good fun. We love you, Kevin, and I hope you have like a not so difficult time editing this, and we'll see you next week. Wes, shout out to you for a good food conversation and giving me a little bit of enlightenment on the spicy pathway, so to speak. Got everybody that's listening, we've got ways to reach out to us. We have a website, thelifemidwest.com. All of our socials are going to be at the Life Midwest. Come talk to me over on the fucking Facebook, Twitter, mostly, Instagram. I mean, I guess Twitter, if Elon hasn't like put it through the ringer. We'll see what happens.
Oh, you know what? It's only $8 to get verified, my dude. We need to cop that Life Midwest.
We're gonna
verified.
It's already planned out. Like once, as like stupid as it is, like I'm like, there's gonna be those naysayers gonna be like, "Oh, you're paying to be verified? You're goddamn right.
Damn right.
You're goddamn right." I've already got it planned out to get us verified on Twitter. So, but yeah, and then if you want to send an email, tell us some of your hot food takes or, you know, your favorite recipes, that's going to be support@thelifemidwest.com. So yeah, we're going to wrap it up here, and we'll see you next Saturday and every Saturday here at Life Midwest. Take it easy.
Deuces.
Bye.